Peter King from themmqb.com and Football Night in America. If you were going to do a movie review of Chip Kelly's debut, how many stars would you give it, Peter?
5.5.
Really?
Oh, I loved it. How do you not love it? How do you not love an offense that at one point puts two tackles, Jason Peters and Todd Harriman, split out right next to Riley Cooper and Deshaun Jackson? How fun is that? How weird is that? How interesting is that? And then how do you not like Chip Kelly setting the NFL coaching record for smiling on the sidelines? And late in the game, did you notice that Deshaun Jackson comes up and from a running start, chest bumps his head coach? These guys are really having fun, and it worked.
All right. I know we fall in love with fads. If it's a fad, I viewed it as just it's a spreader offense. It's not a spread. It's wider than that. But is this something that other teams can look at since it's a copycat league and try to do?
I just think it takes so long in the off season to practice it. The day I went to Eagles practice, Dan, it was 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and there was not a huddle the entire practice. I think that, and you also, I think, have to have a very athletic quarterback as well. I mean, Eli Manning's going to run some more no huddle, I think, this year. And Peyton Manning also runs a lot of no huddle, but he runs a different kind of no huddle. He's distributing the ball. He's not threatening to take the ball every 3 or 4 snaps and run with it. And that's the thing. The one X factor, though, Dan, as we canonized Chip Kelly 12 hours after his first NFL game. The one X factor, I think, in all this is whether Michael Vick can stay healthy. And at the end of the game, the 33-year-old quarterback was walking like he was 53. And so I'm skeptical at this point. The only negative I have to say about that offense is whether they can keep their quarterback standing for 16 weeks.
Yeah, I thought the same thing because at the end of the game, you weren't able to tell who's the guy who had the knee surgery in the offseason and who's the guy who did not, between he and RG3. And also with RG3, right. I mean, he really favored that knee in the first half, but it's almost as if he was saying, I'm going to pass. I'm not going to run. And then I think in the second half, you saw a little bit more of RG3. What was the difference in the first half to the second half, in your opinion?
My feeling is you can't ask someone who makes his living with his body the way Robert Griffin does and his legs. And believe me, I think he is one of the top 5 deep ball throwers in the NFL. So I don't think he's just one of these option guys who has to live and die by the option and running. I think that, but I think if you don't do your craft for 9 months and then you come out and you have to do it at the highest level with huge emotion on both sides of the field, it's very, very surprising to me, or it isn't surprising to me that he struggled in the first half. The only thing that surprised me is that, and I don't want to use the word timid because I can't get in his head, but John Gruden said it 2 or 3 times. He is not stepping into his throws.
Yeah.
And he's very, very conscious of everything around his legs, which if you're going to have knee surgery, I guess you're going to be that way. And I'm not second-guessing any of the way that they prepared him or anything like that. I'm just simply saying that I think it's pretty natural to see that when you have not done your craft for 9 months and then you have to do it at the highest level, I think it's silly to expect you're going to walk in and be great opening day.
He's Peter King. The website is themmqb.com. Must reading for the football fan, also a contributor to Football Night in America. Classic Chargers in midseason form?
The poor Chargers. You know what I just kept thinking last night? If you're a Chargers fan, you sat in that stadium when the Baltimore Ravens converted 4th and 26 about 3 home games ago. And then last night you're up 28-7. You're partying in the parking lot. You're shoving down the fish tacos, and all of a sudden the balloon is burst, and you're saying, "Oh my God, is Norv coaching this team?" Yeah. I mean, I hate to say. I mean, I really felt for the fans. They've just seen this movie so many times before.
And Dominican Sue, I guess, likely, according to reports, to be fined, not suspended. But you know what? I view it as he's a repeat offender here, Pete. I
think he should be suspended too.
I do too. I thought it was egregious. I mean,
and here's the biggest problem. At no level of football, nowhere are you allowed on an interception return to chop block somebody, to block him, to take his legs out from under. Chop block is not the right term, but basically that's what's happening, to take his legs out, because there are so many possibilities of getting guys hurt. You saw what happened with Brian Cushing last year, and this is, to me, a perfect example, of the NFL to really put its money where its mouth is. And they're not doing it. I definitely think he should be suspended. And I think the one other thing is, if it's just going to be a fine, as it appears, but if it's just going to be a fine, and Dominican Sue is on the shortest leash of any player, I think, north of Pac-Man Jones, because I don't see how he does anything else this year that he doesn't get suspended.
What do you make of this catfight with Clay Matthews and Jim Harbaugh?
Basically, I think anybody who watched that game and saw what Matthews did, I mean, it was clearly a dirty play far out of bounds, okay? But everybody knows that Clay Matthews is going to be one of the most aggressive / over-aggressive defenders in all the NFL. So I wasn't really all that surprised that something would happen, nor am I surprised to see Jim Harbaugh go all Buck Showalter on him, and basically defend his guy to the death. I thought it was pretty predictable.
Before I let you go, the three rookie quarterbacks, if you look at what was the most impressive, E.J. Manuel, Terrell Pryor, and Geno Smith.
I think Terrell Pryor, just because his was the most unexpected. Happened on the road against a good defense, against a playoff team, in a game that, coaches say this all the time, nobody gives us a chance and blah, blah, blah. Nobody on God's green earth gave the Raiders a chance. And the Raiders, with 5 minutes left, you say, hey, the Raiders are going to win this game. He played cool. He played calm. He only made one brainlock throw. He's got great presence on the field. I think that he played himself into a full-year starting gig to see if he can be the Raiders quarterback of the future in one afternoon in Central Indiana.
Good to visit with you, Pete, as always. I'll see you next weekend.
Sounds great, Dan. Thank you.
That's Peter King. The website's themmqb.com, and also Football Night in American Sports Illustrated.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.